started singing, I could never have imagined how it would work out. I'm so grateful for all the things that's happened in the 60 years. I went against what was the norm to do what I loved.
One of Ireland's national treasures is hitting a milestone. The clean-cut country crooner from Donegal has a big birthday.
You know, looking back, I can't believe that I'm 60.
Hey Daniel, Corey Brooks here. Just want to say happy birthday.
And with it, 40 years in the music business.
Daniel O'Donnell is probably the biggest star in Ireland for a lot of people.
Daniel O'Donnell.
Daniel O'Donnell.
Daniel O'Donnell. Daniel O'Donnell.
I've never seen another artist have that connection with people.
Down through the years, the media have tried everything.
Did they think I wasn't going to last?
He's just an ordinary country guy that did it.
I don't look at Daniel as a superstar. I look at Daniel as a brother.
Daniel is leaving home in Donegal for his first music tour in 2 years.
Daniel, do you want a cup of tea before you go? No, Magella, I don't drink tea or coffee. Oh yeah, I forgot. Would you like some lunch, pet?
Yes.
And do you soup?
The one you made earlier?
Yeah. Yeah, I do a lovely mixed vegetable soup. He's not a connoisseur of food. Would you like a sandwich?
No. It took you so long to make that.
Stop it now. Honest to God, fish fingers, beans and chips.
I've cooked fish fingers for myself there one day.
Packet of crisps and a bar of chocolate together, preferably. That's his sweet and sour.
Throughout lockdown, Daniel's mother-in-law Marion has moved in to be cared for by the O'Donnells.
Darling.
Very warm, Marion, the soup.
He's going away now, yeah?
Going on tour
He's going on tour.
to America. I'll not see you out nearly Christmas. I'll be nearly 60 when I see you.
Oh, like this.
No, you like younger fellas, don't you?
Living out of a suitcase is the norm for Daniel. He's been touring since he was 19.
When I go on tour, Magella never tours with me. If somebody says, oh, do you not go? She'll say, well, do you go to work with your husband?
Please don't go. Don't go.
Please release me, let me go.
Oh,
This will be another something we don't need.
I have no idea what it is, though. Surprise later on.
Over the next 2 months, as he approaches his 60th birthday, Daniel is scheduled to play 38 concerts across the UK and America.
We are very remote in Donegal, so to be able to fly to start your journey, it's fantastic, and it was voted the most scenic landing in the world. My favourite view is on a good day flying into Carrickfinn and to see the coastline and the islands dotted out are Moore, Bowie, Tory, Gola, and Ishboffin and Ishfree and Ishclara, all of them beautiful.
Daniel Francis Noel O'Donnell was born in December 1961 and raised in Kincasla, a tiny fishing village on the western shores of Donegal.
I'm the eldest. I was the first one that came, so at the end of the day, I'm the boss.
And then there's me. And Kathleen comes after me. Then there's James and Daniel's the baby.
Of course, I always feel very blessed and fortunate that I was born where I was, you know, and grew up where I did. That everybody knew everybody and everybody still knows everybody. I think that was a big plus for me. We lived in a house belonging to my mother's cousin when I was born until I was 5, just over 5. In 1967, we got a council house, and that we moved into that in November. And that was when we had running water.
Life was extremely simple. We had very little in material things, but we had loads in love.
It was idyllic, I suppose, is the right word.
The idyllic childhood was shattered when at just 6 years old, his father died suddenly of a heart attack, aged only 49.
uncle of mine down in his knees, and my father just stayed going in the door of the hospital. So
all really I remember as death. I do feel I can see him going away the morning he was sick to the hospital, and I think I can see the priest that came to tell us he was dead. And I remember the sound of the hearse. Isn't that strange? There's a loud sound on the engine. Isn't that a strange thing to remember?
Daniel missed out on knowing a wonderful, wonderful father. In a lot of ways, he's very like him. Oh, I sometimes think about the big moments in Daniel's career and how proud he would have been.
Julia, Daniel's mum, was left alone to raise her 5 children.
My mother she was very strong.
she reared Daniel to the best, and he never forgot that.
Now there were rags of many colors, and every piece was small, and I didn't have a coat.
She was the Rose Kennedy of our house, you know, she was in charge of the whole show.
I think she embedded in him a lot of qualities, you know, of how to react with people, and he's carried it through.
Mum Julia was a native of Donegal's remote Owie Island.
In the 1970s, everybody was leaving the island, and she wrote a poem about it. And then when I was doing an album of songs, I said to her, we'll have a go at making a song. So we made it into a song. It was called My Lovely Island Home. And she loved that.
As I sit here sadly thinking how the years go swiftly past.
And she loved people. She loved the interaction with people. I wonder, is that where we get it from?
My mother. How are you, man?
It's day 4 of the birthday tour. For the first time in his career, Daniel is having to face up to the fact that there can be no meet or greets.
This time, I suppose, the word bubble has become so much part of our lives. I think after this is all over, I never want to hear bubble again. There's 15 of us on the bus, and there's 16 bucks, so we have one spare if somebody wants to join the bubble.
In spite of social distancing, tickets for the UK tour have been selling like hotcakes, and any pre-show nerves are being ironed out at the sound check.
I'll be a wee bit sharper just before I go on. I know that. You know, you might be kind of a wee bit snappier.
Let's try the original first.
No, I don't need to try the original. Yeah, I know. Just let him hear a lower key.
As showtime approaches, Daniel occupies himself with various rock and roll pursuits.
I do the iron. I get in here. And I have... Now, this would normally be washed already. The underwear I took out, so because you don't need to see that. But this is the boys' shirts.
How about a big hand for all these people up here?
Some of the recipients of Daniel's laundering talents have been with him for decades, including merchandising maestro Robert.
He's something else. He's just something else.
A man who truly loves his carbs.
I have French fries every day. I do. Every day for the last 29 years. I drive this part around the country for the last 21 years.
There's mugs, or there's teddies, or there's cases for the glasses. It's amazing.
I'd say there's like houses in this country that have a Daniel O'Donnell room in a slightly terrifying way.
I couldn't believe when Robert appeared with a face mask with my face. I said, where'd you get that? He said, we have them. I said, Robert, please. Thinking my face is on one side, so at least I'm not talking when they're talking, you know. But my mouth was kind of, if I was in the middle, I'd be moving.
This one of the longest people here now. You were lying around. 86?
The lads are good fun. They take their job seriously, but then you get back on the us, and you can have a laugh and a giggle, and it's great. Dream job, isn't it? Who doesn't want to work with Daniel?
The Ben sisters are a new addition to the lineup. Until recently, Daniel's band remained the same for almost 40 years.
I think success has a lot to do with that too. You know, it was a well-oiled machine. So the band now is totally new. They're all younger, all but Des, the drummer. Des is the only person that's older than me here. And years ago I was the youngest person on stage, but now I look around and I think to myself, my goodness, I have underwear older than most of them, you know, they're so young.
Daniel's fans can't get close on this tour, but it still doesn't stop them showering him with gifts as his big birthday draws nearer.
Oh, this is a present going back in time. Oh, this must be the day I was born, isn't it? 10th of December 1961. Tottenham Hotspur won the cup, FA Cup. It's lovely, isn't it? Mary, I know Mary that gave me that. She's been coming to see me for years and years and years. Oh my God, look at that. Chocolate delight. What more could you want? Oh my God, Mary, how you know me better than I know myself. There'll be another belt moved on the trousers.
It's not just backstage where the gifts pile up. Back at Dunlow Post Office, Daniel's mail keeps Owen the postman busy.
There's mail would be from all over. You see it on the postmarks. There'll be a lot of stuff coming from America and Australia, Canada. He'd have a job himself, go through it all, and he does go through it all. I believe some of it would be just Daniel O'Donnell, Ireland, and it will still make his way here. The volume of mail at Christmas would increase very much for him, you know.
I mean, hundreds and hundreds of cards.
Some days I could have, you know, stuff that ain't there, but I would keep everything for him until he would come home, you know.
Touring was a key part of Daniel's childhood, as he took every opportunity to watch his sister Margot's show band perform.
He used to come to my shows with my mother, and I would always get him up to sing. And he always sang Philomena Begley's song. She'd never sing my song. Anyway, he loved Philomena.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
When Daniel was 18, he went to study business at college in Galway, but he never settled, and sought out one of his idols for advice.
He came to my house, and I was floured to the elbows because I was making bread too, and my hair was in rollers, and I was a sight to behold. And I said to him to stick to his books. Well, he decided not to take my advice, and wasn't he a lucky boy that he didn't take my advice at the time? He had the last laugh, and he's singing all the way to the bank.
Daniel soon dropped out of college to pursue his dream of following in his sister's footsteps.
He joined me in late January in the Rag and Thurles, and he had his hand on the same fret of the guitar through the whole night.
Back home to Donegal, you're the pride of them all. Your people.
It was a great opportunity. It was almost like an apprenticeship.
Donegal, I'm coming home to you.
But he had no interest in learning the guitar. Daniel wanted to be out front. Daniel wanted to be a lead singer, and that's what he became. I had many doubts because I didn't have a very easy road in music, in the music business, so I didn't want that for my baby brother. No way.
Margot's rise to fame came at a cost. Away from the spotlight, she struggled and became addicted to drink and drugs.
Oh, it was hard for all the family, you know, and there's nothing you can do for somebody that's going through that. That's one thing that you learn, that until they're ready, there's really nothing you can do. It's a tragedy.
I did a lot of things the wrong way, and I hoped that from me doing them the wrong way, he saw what was right.
I never fell into drinking, or I didn't need. I didn't need Margaret. I think I've heard her say that it gave her confidence. I didn't feel the need for the confidence. That doesn't mean that I was always tremendously confident. I wasn't, but that wasn't where I saw it. So I was lucky.
In 1983, determined to become a recording artist in his own right, Daniel saved up enough money to record an album in Big Tom's studio in Castleblaine.
Saved his pennies, saved his pounds, as Daniel is very good at that. But he sold those records himself. A lot of them on the bus to Knockshrine, singing all the way there from Donegal to Knock in County Mayo and all the way back.
Later that same year, he formed his own band, Country Fever.
Every night that he was out, no matter how hard it was, big crowd, small crowd, no crowd, Daniel loved it more and more.
The magic ingredient of any singer's success is to find that song that totally identified with you. And Daniel found that in My Donegal Shore.
I know it's not right, reminiscing.
Remember in Birmingham one night, and I was watching the crowd, and he came out and he sang Donegal Shore. And something happened that night. And I remember saying it to him afterwards, you know, Daniel, you're on your way.
On a Donegal shore.
The band was made up of local lads, including PJ, his best friend from school.
I remember on one particular occasion we went to Waterville in County Kerry, and the van that we used, the engine started to boil somewhere between Bundoran and Sligo. One of the front seats was tipped up and the water was poured out the whole way. We were down in Waterville, but we got there and did the gig.
He'd be advertised a lot of the time as Margot's brother, you know. After he got really well known, I was advertised as Daniel's sister. So really and truly, it worked both ways.
In 1985, promoter Mick Clarkin spotted 24-year-old Daniel's potential at a music festival in London and signed him to his record label, Ritz Records. Soon after, they released The Two Sides of Daniel O'Donnell.
Stand Beside Me became a signature tune. Then I recorded I Need You.
Would you welcome, please, from Kincastle, Mr. Daniel O'Donnell.
If you should ever think of leaving, don't let it go.
And that was the first song to get airplay on the radio in England.
The love of a lifetime.
Despite having released a few singles, Daniel was still performing in empty halls.
And I went to see Mick and I told him this, but I thought it wasn't going to work. I suppose, without my knowledge, was they were getting a good reaction to the album, and they felt there was something beginning to build.
Mick brought in Sean Riley to manage Daniel, and a new band was put together.
And that was literally like turning on a light. This was the band that was with me for the 30 years, or the base of it. Then our first shows in Ireland was in the Milford Inn. And Ronnie came in, and he said, the place is packed. And the band went up, and I heard them people shout, Daniel. And I was afraid to go out. I can remember thinking, God. And that was the beginning of the next chapter.
Sean Riley continued to manage Daniel for 30 years, helping him on the road to worldwide fame and untold riches.
Daniel's probably worth 100 million. Nobody knows what Daniel O'Donnell is worth. It's never been about the money with Daniel. When Daniel was quite wealthy, he was still driving around in a car. The water was getting in. He couldn't bring himself to change it.
The real Daniel O'Donnell, the entertainer, comes alive on the stage. That's his world.
You can't but be affected by the good vibe in the theatre. You get it on the stage, you know, whatever they get on the floor, we get it from the audience. I think on stage I'm more extrovert. I'm fairly quiet, you know, in general.
You could argue that there are other people in the Irish country scene who are just as good as singers or just as good as musicians, but I'd say the specific thing he has that he makes people feel like they're part of something bigger and that he does have a special relationship with that audience, that's a very hard thing to kind of replicate.
People are delighted that, you know, they're out at shows again.
No, like, I'm sure he's making a lot of money at it, but he's doing a good thing for these people. It's like a public service, you know. If he didn't exist, the state would probably have to come up with a nationalised version of him and send them out, because I felt really strongly that a lot of the people at that gig, they needed a gig like that every few months, and there was such joy.
From last year. I saw him Friday at Eastbourne and it was absolutely fantastic. I've lost count of the number of concerts we've been to.
So many of the women fancy him really madly. I guess in a lot of ways for women of that generation, he kind of represents the perfect, nice boyfriend, husband figure.
The last time I seen him, he came over and he put his arm round and had pictures and I thought, oh, that was too much.
Particular points he wiggles his hip to the side and there's like a scream when you're looking around going, what did he just do? So he knows what his audience is, he knows his genre inside out.
Danny boy, love you!
Daniel O'Donnell.
Daniel's rise to the top, however, did not come without its sacrifices.
He was working non-stop, he never had any personal time.
Daniel O'Donnell.
He was meeting all the fans for hours after show. He was driving hours out of his way to visit the sick, and it all eventually came to a head, and he crashed towards the end of 1991.
I was exhausted physically, and maybe a mental exhaustion too.
And it brought him to his knees.
It was just doing too much. And I suppose the voice was telling me, you need to slow down. I just couldn't physically sing. One night, and it was in Cushion in Kildania, I just gave up. I thought maybe that's the end of it, that maybe I won't be able to sing, because it's awful to open your mouth and nothing coming out.
Daniel urgently sought advice from specialist vocal coach Tom Wilson in Dublin.
And Tom said, you really need to take a break. You need to stop. And I went to Sean on New Year's Day and I said, Sean, I need to take a break. And he said, how long do you need? I said, I need 6 months. And like, they had loads of shows sold out in the UK and Ireland, everywhere. I'm sure I left a terrible mess. I learned from that you can't be all things to everybody and nothing to yourself.
After a 6-month break, Daniel was nervous about his return.
I did lack confidence again. I thought I would never manage to get to do the show again.
His manager, Sean Riley, and promoter, Kieran Kavanagh, who's now his manager, they decided that when he came back, he was going to work in a different way. Instead of doing non-stop dances and concerts and the whole mix, he was going to become a concert artist.
And it was decided that he would make his comeback with a show at none other than the Point Theatre.
No big country artist, no Irish country artist had done it before.
That blew me away which was a huge step.
But Daniel really didn't believe in it. He didn't really believe in himself at that moment.
First time I went there was to see Cliff Richard, and somebody said that night, you know, when are you coming? You know, it was like, how dare you, you know, make fun of me like that. But anyway, I'm here now.
On the 11th of July 1992 in the Point, and it was sold out. It's amazing.
We
I remember that time, so uncertain, and sometimes there has to be a step back to get a good leap forward. Then in '92 I recorded I Want to Dance With You. And that took it to another level. And I knew in the studio, I said, this is very different. It sounds different, there's something about it.
The song took off while Daniel was on the other side of the world.
We went to Australia, myself and Sean Riley, and we got word to say that the single was selling well and it was bubbling under the UK charts. And if it got into the top 30, there was a chance that I would get on top of the pops. And we decided to leave Australia a day early, and Sean called from Singapore and they said the song had gone to number 30 and I was getting on top of the pops the next week.
Double, the king of the country charts has popped up at number 30.
And that week I was on top of the pops and Donegal won the All-Ireland.
Donegal won the All-Ireland for the very first time. That was huge in Daniel's life.
I came home and everybody from home was in Dublin, and I was going up O'Connell Street singing I Want to Dance With You, and everybody was singing it. And it was just mind-blowing.
Since the early Top of the Pops days, television appearances and videos have become a crucial part of Daniel's success. But possibly his most popular video ever is his very latest.
Oh, the wine video down at the La-Di-Da.
I didn't know that I would have another song that would create a stir, and here with the Blue, this song and video just took off.
The viral video was the brainchild of a creative team who live around the corner from Daniel.
You know, we shot Daniel down the local community centre.
Yeah, his bewilderment at how the green screen worked was just hilarious.
Definitely a leap of faith by Daniel. We were like blowing him with a leaf blower. And his hair is somehow always perfect. I don't know how that works.
It's actually kind of scary.
It's kind of scary. He must have his own formula. A local woman, Margaret, she got to pull the ski rope.
And then after we went to his house, where we filmed him in his designer pajamas, the best set of pajamas I think I've ever seen in my life. Filmed him in his car with the rain effect. This was just me outside the car with a hose.
Yeah.
It must have looked like quite the Mickey Mouse production. I don't know what he's used to.
The reaction online has been absolutely amazing. There's been tweets, people saying that this is the greatest thing to ever come out of Ireland. And some of the clips have like 500,000 views, and people are making memes out of it.
Daniel, you're causing a furore all over social media. Everyone's gone cracked for your video.
But if I knew that, I'd have worn the bluer skirt sooner.
I must get on to him a bit. The lovely skirt he had on.
I really enjoyed it.
Another O'Donnell phenomenon was back in the 1990s, when fans from all over the world were bussed in to hear Daniel at the Dunlow Festival, which became known as the biggest tea party in the world.
People came from all over Ireland, which was great for Donegal.
I got up at 3 a.m. this morning and drove 300 miles to St. Pierre to see Daniel. Are you mad? Mad about him, yes.
Germany, Poland, Sweden,
Canada, Australia.
Where have you come from today? From Brisbane, Australia, especially to see Daniel. That's right.
We could count 30 or 40 buses there every day.
One of them said something like, "Oh, I'd love to scatter crisps on his bed," you know, like they love him.
Well, you see, I've been a man like Daniel now.
It was a pure happening that was never planned.
But Daniel had to call time on the tea as crowd control became a major concern.
Sky News, NBC News, helicopters. It was kind of a thing, what's going on in this wee place away up in the northwest?
Give me a kiss. I did. Swear to God. Do you fancy him? I do.
Imagine he could set up his own little fiefdom and build a small army if he wanted. When civilization collapses, he'll be like one of the high kings or the chieftains up there in Donegal.
At the very heart of the rural Kincasla community is the chapel. Daniel has always felt a strong connection to this place of sanctuary.
Daniel is very deep.
Tell me, Lord, what did I ever do?
His beliefs and the things that's close to him and dear to him will always be dear to him. And Kincasla is one of them, and the church is one of them.
I who made the stars of night.
I have sung at the Mass in Kincasla since I was a child. And, you know, to be able to sing in our chapel at Christmas is a joy for me.
Faith was something that it wasn't something that we were forced into. It was something that happened within our home.
I'm a Catholic, and it's good for me, but I'm not out there. I'm not going out on stage to tell people what they should do, you know. And you can be a good Catholic and not a good Christian.
It was Daniel's Catholic faith that meant he nearly didn't marry Magella, who was a divorced mother of two when they met in Tenerife in 1999.
Was, you know, in my mind, how would that work? And I thought maybe it wasn't going to work. It was probably to do with, you know, getting married outside the church, you know, so I decided maybe we would, you know, part company. And we did.
Then he dumped me, basically.
And then I remember being at Mamma Mia in London, and I was sitting watching and thinking, I'm going to think Magella'd love this. And I remember thinking then, why am I, you know, resisting something? You know, if it is God-given, it's not given to cause trouble, you know. Getting married, my thought was, well, if God put somebody in my life that gives me joy, why would he do that? Why would he do that if that's wrong? Life is not, you know, black and white.
In 2002, Daniel did finally marry Magella in his beloved Kincasla chapel, and the union has proved to be a match made in heaven.
I suppose maybe we never thought that Daniel would ever get married, because he'd been this bachelor figure for a lot of years.
For a long, long time, Daniel was married to his career. There was no room in his life for a partner, and it was quite a lonely life.
When I met Magella, I knew pretty soon that it was different, you know. There was a different feeling. It was well, obviously there was an excitement about it, you know.
The day he got married, it really was the royal wedding.
I mean, I had more guests at it than Magella. Magella says she had only 40. I think she had more than that, but anyway.
500 people. I invited 40. He invited, I don't even know, the village of Kincasla is probably only about 100 people.
But I said, well, you had a go before, so, you know, you did. And then we got word then, just as we were greeting people, that the tide was coming in and the cars were parked, some of them on the beach, so we had to scramble to get out. And then the whole route to Letterkenny, you know, there was people out at the doors and waving and...
It was phenomenal, and The celebrations went on till nearly breakfast time in the hotel, and Daniel and Majella were actually the last, almost, to go to bed.
Daniel has also become a proud stepfather to Siobhan and Michael, and later grandfather to Olivia, Archie, and the most recent addition, baby Luke.
They don't think granddad. They've given him a whole new life.
They call me Gaga, but really they have given me more joy than anything. I can't begin to tell you. It's just great. They're the making of us.
There's a different meaning to Daniel now. More relaxed and happy now when Majella and the grandchildren is there.
It's the last night of the UK tour in Wales, and Daniel is preparing for his American trip.
It's just one big pack. It looks like a mess, but I know it's my mess. It's great that we've had this time, you know, touring and the whole thing went well. You couldn't ask for more, really.
It's been a grueling schedule, and Daniel needs to look after his most precious assets, his throat and his hair.
His hair was always a big thing.
Somebody said to me recently, "You're far better since you'd started letting your hair go grey." I've never dyed my hair in my life.
You see, the thing about Daniel's hair is, no, it doesn't move.
The last time I got a cut, the hairdresser said, "Put in a bit of mousse and just push it up and it'll be fine." So I put in a bit of mousse and pushed it up and it's fine.
And as he nears 60, Daniel has no drastic plans to change his image.
Daniel hasn't had any cosmetic surgery.
Put on base cream and there's no smell of it or no nothing. I washed my face with it and I put it on after.
That is the real Daniel.
As the crew de-rig, it's dinner in bed for Daniel and band. So far they have covered over 1,500 miles across the UK on their sleeper bus.
We can kick off the masks now. We're back in the bubble. This is our beds. Very comfortable. There's 16 bunks.
And the bunks are really comfy. This is my bunk here. I just in there and you snuggle up, you pull your curtains and you get a great sleep. Really, I mean, it's really comfy. It looks a proper bed. You have your light if you want to have light in there, but I don't want light when I'm just want dark. I'm sure people think it's an awful way to live, but really it's very comfortable and we get a great rest. Crew are down on this side here, and this door closes because they need more rest than us because they are late to bed and up first thing in the morning to set up. So that's our home. Ollie has a great love of cheese. He's just lucky that I like cheese and onion crisps because that covers my thing with the cheese. One packet left. Is that what I'm down to now?
Yeah, prawns, and we had cheese and ham, fridge full of Coke. Cola. Should I?
Well, that's my party over now. One bag of crisps.
Man, you Playboy jeans.
Mm-hmm. You are at the cutting edge, Ollie. You really are.
Has it got women on them?
Yeah, we have a Playboy.
Oh, the actual Playboy ladies. They've got clothes on.
Yeah, they've all got clothes on.
Well, the ones on the outside have clothes on.
The Daniel O'Donnell Tour has arrived in America, where they will play 25 dates across 8 different states. Branson, Missouri is right in the heart of the Ozarks and has been a regular stop for over 20 years.
I'm really looking forward to Daniel O'Donnell. It's a favourite with a lot of them. They watch him on TV. No, we're from the home of country music and they come over here to hear it.
We love it.
We are from Tennessee. We came 2 days ago. 8-hour drive, yeah. We're having a great time.
We would have been very aware of American country music.
Goodbye, Joe, you gotta go.
But then, you know, you had Charlie Pride and Loretta Lynn and George Jones and Tammy Wynette. I loved all them singers.
You're cheating.
It was Sean Riley, his manager, who always believed Daniel had what it took to become a star in America.
I mean, we came here in the early
and, you know, did the Irish cities. And we did okay. And then we started in Branson in 97.
There was times when there was hardly anybody at the shows, but and he would tell you himself he was thinking about pulling the plug on it all.
And it wasn't until 2002 when our shows aired on PBS television. That was an instant success. From there on in, it was literally like that.
When they started playing Daniel's shows, you know, round the clock on their TV networks, and eventually that led to bigger and bigger venues.
That year, before, about a month before the show, the 10 shows sold out. Then, before we left, the 10 shows for the following year sold out. And I remember before we left, there was 45,000 tickets sold for the 3 weeks following year. And then we moved to a bigger theatre, and I can remember Branson was really booming at that time, you know, because Andy Williams was here, the Osmonds, Mickey Gilley, Mel Tillis, Ray Stevens, Tony Orlando. There was a huge draw.
It's like Las Vegas without the gambling. It's got all these theatres there and big stars. But Daniel is the biggest star, and he brings the largest number of people there, and it generates a massive amount of money for the local economy.
I guarantee if I'm still alive next year, I'll be here next year. My husband and I have been coming for at least 15 years.
It's like being in a cult, a Daniel O'Donnell cult.
My family knows they can't have any babies or weddings or anything else in November because I will be there.
But I could never have imagined how it would work out. To be standing out there today in front of an audience of people that have no connection with Ireland. They're from every state in America, and they're just here because they love the music. It's just amazing.
Daniel knew he'd broken through in the States when he got the call to play at the home of country music, the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. And Majella was right beside him to share the moment.
I think Majella has helped him become more relevant because she's a much more contemporary type of personality. And he's able to kind of come into the modern world as part of that package. And he understands that that's a good thing, and he's very proud of her.
The golden moment for the golden couple. But life was about to take a turn for the worse.
Unfortunately, in 2013, Majella was diagnosed with a breast cancer.
Was it? A real shock, really. I mean, I'd had lumps in the past, but they'd always been benign, but I never took it for granted. I always, you know, as soon as I found something, go and have it checked out.
And just initially, you kind of can't believe it. And I suppose I gained strength from Majella because she didn't collapse.
When I found out that I had to have chemo, it was more of a shock, because then I knew, gosh, I'm going to lose my hair.
There was the shock of the diagnosis, and then you tried to gather, you know, the positives out of it too.
Majella took matters into her own hands.
I felt that this is my journey. This is something I have to go through. I didn't want Daniel to stop working. I didn't want him there looking at me like I was sick.
How did you feel when you saw it happening?
Do you know that for the first time I felt that I knew that, you know, she was sick?
It took the physical act of...
Yeah.
Why don't you give her the trap if you want to?
I realised that Majella's life was never going to be the same because of that. It was something that happened, that she had opened herself up to become a public person. I felt that in that instant.
How do you feel?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Majella's brave actions raised over €700,000 for the Irish Cancer Charity.
I said, you know, when you have all this treatment finished, I'm going to take time off and we're going to go on a world cruise. And I decided then that I wouldn't tour as much and we would have more time doing other things.
Since his break in 2016, Daniel has cut down his work schedule, but the couple's dedication to charity has never waned.
I haven't done all the charity that I've been asked to do because I couldn't. But I think that it's important for people that have a platform to realise that their voice is far louder and it's important to use it. I think I realised that, especially with Romania.
Daniel's trip to the Surrett orphanage back in 1998 had a profound and lasting impact on him.
I don't think anybody could be prepared for what I witnessed. And I remember going to one bed and I laid my hand on the bed. The bed was soaking and the child wasn't able to move. And that was the worst experience of all.
It's this week's second highest entry in the pop charts at number 7.
I just immediately thought, I can't just go away from this after making a record. I'll have to talk about this.
There's a serious side to this recording. Daniel O'Donnell released it as part of a drive to raise £1 million to build accommodation for 550 children in Romania.
Then people just raise money everywhere. Great. Yes.
After raising millions for the Romanian appeal to fund purpose-built homes, Daniel returned years later.
And I went and I found that same child and I went to his bed and the bed was dry. And that for me was the biggest achievement in Romania. You know, I have the shorts ironed. I'm like, and what am I like? The shorts ready for tomorrow. We were from the group that, you know, you wore your best clothes on the stage.
With 3 costume changes a night, Daniel's sharp suits have become a famous feature of his image down the decades.
I always get dressed and suits. I wore leather trousers, not for joking, for the rock and roll. It really was a joke. My mother hated that. Not that, and I'm not saying that 60's old or 55 was old, but I'm thinking, you know, they're wild tight. I'll go home now and I'll make me chicken strips, me Bush's beans, and me coleslaw and me Mountain Dew, and be as happy as Larry. This guy here doesn't buy us thousands of it on the ball.
Country and Irish is a very hard-working kind of business, and there aren't that many airs and graces that go with it. Even the concepts in the songs and the lyrics in the songs, it's all about being ordinary.
Daniel's upbringing by his mother Julia in rural Donegal had a lot to do with keeping his feet on the ground.
Well, she would always say, if somebody said you must be very proud of them, she said, I'm proud of them all. And she would always put the 2 hands out.
This woman gives the orders from the corner.
And I should be the one that's getting the medal.
She would always have a show, she was like the Queen, he'd introduce her, she'd stand up and give the royal wave.
That was probably when we noticed, and I noticed the difference, the last concert she was at.
There won't be any patches in heaven. You look so pretty.
I sang a song that night called Patches in Heaven, and I walked down from the stage and hugged her, and never ever thinking that that was going to be the last show that she was going to be at. Mom wasn't sick. She just got very tired and she went to sleep. She just said, there's Francie. And she reached out her hands and she closed her eyes.
And of course I've sadness, but I'm very aware of the age my mother was. She lived to be almost 95 and good for almost all of them years. It was her time, you know. Yeah, it was her time. We were blessed to have her for so long.
She was such a massive part of our lives. When she was gone, it was awful. We fell asunder, and we said words to one another that we didn't mean, and I'm guilty of that more than any of them. We didn't know where we were, because Mum sat on the chair and she ruled the whole family. And what she said went, and that was it. In my heart lies a memory.
It was Daniel's close bond with his mother and clean-cut image that often led to ridicule in his early days in the limelight.
For years, people thought that I was dull.
Come and drink some tea with Daniel Girls and the Crown Prince of the Scone.
At one stage, he would have been quite straightforwardly uncool.
Daniel's creamy tea.
And they thought that, this guy can't be for real. A guy who drinks tea and, he's a rock star.
I don't think I was ever as serious as people perceived me to be. It's not that they don't like me. They just don't understand, and they think they don't like me,
And I do think that the world of pop culture and celebrity has changed. So now what's almost more valuable than coolness is having a really strong identity.
And Daniel ended up having the last laugh when lucrative TV offers poured in.
He has developed this kind of celebrity that kind of goes beyond the music now.
Probably when he did the B&B road trip with Magella.
There, he's here.
The media and the public in general saw the real Daniel O'Donnell.
What's that you have there?
I think for younger people now, they might actually look at him and just see something quite authentic.
Oh, look at nothing.
He's got a great sense of humour, as you can see in the gas ad on TV.
Daniel O'Donnell.
Hello, Mary.
He's very self-deprecating as well.
She's not your cushions.
The local hospital, Dunlow Hospital, I would have a good association with it anyway. I'd always go there at Christmas. But somebody wrote up, the poor people have not enough trouble without come on, to sing in the wonder to them.
He just loves to laugh.
Oh, he has a sense of humour, all right. There's no doubt about that.
But I think there is some steel there. Like in the episode of Room to Improve,
To 395,000.
there's a bit where Dermot shows them the budget and it's way over their budget. And there's a look in Daniel's eyes that I've never seen before, and I went, oh my God, you don't want to cross that man.
Even though I would like things done to the house, I couldn't care less if there was nothing done.
Like, I doubt he could have built the business he's built if you were entirely a soft and cuddly character. I'd say he endeavours to be 95% of the time. It's probably like one of those things that all he has to do is like show his steel once and then everyone just backs down.
The media have tried everything. They even said, that I was Daniel's mother.
If you get on the wrong side, there would be people who would get the wrath of his tongue.
Social media is a cesspit. The people that are on it, do you know this? They don't deserve the space that they walk on. I don't think they care. I don't think they have a conscience.
But they'll never, they're not going to get anything on Daniel.
Like, so many institutions have come into ill repute in Ireland over the last 20 years that he's like a replacement institution, for a lot of people. Something that has not yet been sullied, that still works, still operates, is still out there. The church, the banks, they've all fallen, not Daniel.
Back in Branson, Daniel is buzzing. His latest album has entered the UK charts at number 4, just behind Coldplay, The Beatles and Adele.
I know I'm 60. The album, you see, is called 60. And Adele's album is 30. I'm twice as good, but I said, if she's 30, I'm 60, and it means when I was 30, she was nothing.
Did I tell you we had a new album?
This latest chart success means that he has broken his own world record of being the first artist ever to have at least one new album in the charts for 34 consecutive years.
Today, we're going to be celebrating Daniel's 60th birthday. We're going to surprise him on stage with a cake, and I'm going to ask the audience to sing happy birthday to Daniel. It's going to be fun. Speak for the community and all your fans across America when I say, happy birthday, Daniel.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday to you. I can't believe that I'm 60. I don't know what you're supposed to feel when you're 60. But I'm so grateful for all the things that's happened in the 60 years. Even if tomorrow I was to stop, I could not say I've been shortchanged.
Now, if I can direct you to the screen, you have friends from around the world that want to give you some wishes.
Hi, Daniel! Happy birthday all the way from Australia, and really wish we could be there with you guys and spend time with the family.
I would love to be remembered as somebody that brought people together.
We love you very much.
I think there will come a time when I won't tour, but I hope there won't come a time when I won't sing.
Keep on changing, and
I don't want to be out there and somebody saying, God, he was great in his day. I don't want to be that person.
What do you say to Gaga? We love you so, so, so much. So let's all say happy birthday.
Hi there, Daniel. Well, it happens to all of us being 60. Well, it's nothing really. I did it 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, Danny boy, we can't believe you're 60.
Garth Brooks here. Just want to say happy birthday. Thanks for loving the music and the people that love the music. You've taken care of both. Enjoy your day.
I don't even think that when he's 70 at my age, that he'll be thinking about slowing down.
I hope that he has a good retirement whenever that will be, but I can't see that happening for quite a while yet.
Hi Daniel, I just want to join in with everybody else and wish you a very happy 60th birthday. And you definitely are the love of my life, and I want to thank you for being the wonderful, kind, generous, thoughtful, caring person that you are. I've been blessed to have you in my life. Bye, love.
He has given thousands of people real joy, and I think that's actually the most important legacy he could have.
It'll be a long time before anybody will take his place. Daniel O'Donnell, he's the same boy that left Donegal. Close to my